right.
Just two questions.
That'll be the day.
It's like you told me that.
I'm very familiar with your operation. Well, I'm very blessed. I'm a member of two very fine foundations, and I have a very liberal special fund from each foundation for special kinds of activities. I've been a founder of the Woke Foundation. Louis Woke was a close friend of mine, as Paul Woke, and that family was a friend of my family's. So I kind of grew up with Paul Woke, and I took care of them as patients. And so it was very natural that when they formed their foundation, I would not only be a member, but I became the chairman of that foundation. And then a similar situation existed with Max Farish. Max and I were horsemen. Max was a great horseman, had a great collection of horses, and I would ride with Max maybe 3 times a week, early in the morning, before I'd go to the hospital. And Max became a patient of mine. Not only became a patient, became very desperately ill, and I was able to save his life, so he never got over. And of course, when he formed his foundation, I was a member of that foundation, and I was a vice chair of that foundation ever since it existed. So I've had that wonderful life experience of being able to participate in some significant charitable activities.
Well, he's truly a Renaissance man. He is so distinctive and unique. I mean, he does everything well, including living to 97, being a highly regarded physician, researcher in medicine, and he has an inquiring mind. It runs the gamut from writing. He also is into astronomy, and from our viewpoint at the Farish Foundation, the most essential thing is that he is the best example of a board member that you could ask for. Conscientious, curious, not afraid to challenge.
Well, Doc built the Astrodome down there, and it was really intriguing to see it. And so he asked me to join him with about 4 or 5 other astrotechs. Just a special guy. His knowledge of astronomy is astounding. I mean, he can name it and tell you what's going on. He can tell you about the moon and so forth. It's just astounding.
So growing up, we were always reminded that while it's nice to get and receive, it's so much more rewarding to give. And that meant of your time, resources, your knowledge, advice, anything. To understand who my mother is, I think you have to know where she came from. She was raised in a house where everything was about giving back and tzedakah. I have such a vivid memory of on their kitchen table, that blue and white pishki, we called it, tin box, always rattled with coins. And I think the placement of it on their kitchen table was symbolic of just keeping it present and a reminder that there's always someone that could use your help.
When my mother, it was the last 6 months of her life that she was back and forth between rehab and strong. So I became a daily visitor multiple times a day to the Jewish home. And I really got to see the place from the inside rather than just passing it on the outside. And I was so impressed by the tender, loving care that my mother received here. And I saw that this was such a wonderful place that I wanted to give my time to. And so that Mort and I became members of the Golden Alliance. At one of the board meetings, I remember they spoke about a new program that was being developed nationally, Memory and Music. And I know how important music is to somebody's life, especially it's the last thing to go in terms of their memory. So this program touched Mort and I so much that I think I raised my hand at the meeting and said, we'll take care of it.
Ever since I was young, I knew from the start helping people was what she was so passionate about. When my sisters and I were younger, my grandma took my sisters and I to her compeer events. And we saw firsthand how important it was to her to help people through giving back to those people in need. That ultimately shaped the career I went into. She's a role model to me in showing me how important it is to help others.
She was an organizer, I think. She could organize. She wanted to do the big events. I think that was her forte.
All I ever did with Marilyn was have fun. We went to Las Vegas once, Marilyn and I, but it was to prep for the American Neurological Association meeting that she put on. So this was the main meeting, and then Marilyn put on the benefit. And we're talking about 15,000 doctors and their wives, or mostly wives. And she was in charge of the venue, the entertainment. We saw all the big shows, in Vegas, went to all the restaurants while she was negotiating and choosing what was going to happen and raising huge amounts of money.
She was one of the original organizers of the Kidney Foundation. I think she was the first president of it. And then she helped organize the Friends of Strong, the volunteer organization at Strong. And she could do anything.
Whatever she did very well. If she was on your committee, if she was working on something with you, she was amazing.
Well, the gala was fabulous, whatever she did. I mean, she needed to get the top entertainment, and the decorations were always perfect. That was Marilyn. Everything had to be perfect.
And not only that, when she went to something, she looked perfect.
When Marilyn would wake up in the morning, she would put on her makeup, and she wanted to look perfect for Irwin, for the mailman, for whomever.
The housekeeper.
Yeah, always. She always looked perfect. Even when she wasn't feeling well,
That's right.
she still made herself look good till the very end.
If you were working on something with her, she made you feel like you were doing such an important thing. She liked to say, "I'm going to call you up." That was her expression. And so she called me up one day and she said, there's this wonderful opportunity and I want you on board with me. And she just made it sound like this was going to be the biggest thing to hit Rochester. She put me in charge of the volunteers of the evening. When I would call somebody, her enthusiasm made me enthusiastic when I called people. I've got something really great for you to do, and they say, sure, what is it? So it's catchy.
She was petite in stature, but she was a dynamo.